Canada's East Coast. A rugged, breathtaking landscape that even today remains largely unspoiled.
It's one of those places it's hard to point a camera in any direction and not have a beautiful scenic view. Between the coastlines and the mountain terrains, the rolling hills, just the general topography of the whole place, Newfoundland is just a remarkable area.
Being mostly undisturbed, the area is known to produce large game, especially moose.
We were looking for a particular moose, what we call the ghost, or this 50-inch bull that has been spotted in this area.
Steve Ecklund has a week in the wild to find the elusive ghost moose.
Live on the edge, 'cause brother, win or lose, it's all what you do with the chance you're given. Yeah, through the wind and rain, you feel your heart pounding. You got one shot, what you got? Tell me what's it gonna be? You gotta make the most of this opportunity. If others fail, make sure you succeed. On the edge.
The Edge is sponsored by Cabela's and also by Bog Pod, Browning, Buck Expert, Caldwell, Field Torque Knives, Prime Archery, High Mountain Seasonings, HowToHunt.com, Hornady, Polaris, 10-Point Crossbows, Wild Game Innovations Trail Cameras, and Vortex.
I'm back again. Good to see you, old friend.
Yeah, back again, huh, Jim?
Jim, nice to meet you.
Hunter Steve Ecklund has returned to one of his favorite places along Canada's East Coast. He's come to Newfoundland to hunt moose.
Everybody talks about, you know, the infamous Alaskan Yukon moose, but Newfoundland for me has got a special place in my heart.
This is the camp we're going to be headed into.
Okay.
Paradise Camp.
We're with Next Ridge Outfitters, Shane Mullen hosting us out here. These guys are a class act.
In these lower woods, these green areas,
Okay.
that's where all the moose are hanging right now.
We were here last year, so we're going back to see old friends.
Awesome.
Ever since we started coming to Next Ridge Outfitters, it provides us with a remote hunting location. I mean, you can only get in here via helicopter. Very excited about the week to come for sure.
Now in camp and with daylight fading, Steve has enough light to break out the bow and get in some target practice.
I like to get to camp, especially if I've traveled, and I break the bow out and I do a lot of practicing. I mean, to the point where it drives my guides nuts. Practice and proficiency with the equipment you're using is something we owe to that animal in order to make a quick and clean harvest. With this much practice under my belt, it gives me the confidence in order to be fast. You know, I always say it's for when seconds count. Being able to react instinctively, especially with the bow and arrow, is going to allow you the time you need to get the job done and to get a well-placed shot off.
Day one begins with Steve and outfitter Chris Baldwin scouting the area in hopes of locating and calling in a moose.
I can try to get down for a slope here. Let's have to find a little open spot. Set up here.
I never met Chris before, but he's a bow hunter and he is passionate about the sports. We're gonna hunt deep, we're gonna hunt tight in the timber, and hopefully call one of these bad boys in. It's the first week of October, rut's on, and we're ready to roll.
In addition to calls and raking, Steve and Chris are using a bit of high-tech gadgetry to attract the moose.
Chris just went to set up the electronic collar. Here in Newfoundland, completely legal to use these things. My first time, so.
Love the electronic call. It brings the calling session away from the hunter. I can get away with a lot more movement when that animal is focused 25, 30 yards away to the call box. So I was quite impressed. I really like them.
Did you hear the cows, Paul?
Yeah, I heard the cows back there.
That way.
As the day progresses, Steve and Chris try to get a bearing on where the moose are located.
Heard some cows this morning down in this area. In the bog. Boy.
The two hunters push on looking for moose, but as the day wears on, they still haven't been able to call one in.
It's late afternoon and we decide to let this electronic call do all the work for us. You know, after about 45 minutes of sitting there, I admit, I mean, I was sitting there thinking, you know, let's go try a different spot. Chris was a big advocate of making sure that you stay long enough to sort of be there for the moose that aren't real close by when they hear that call. These moose, they hear very well, sometimes 2-3 miles away. Sure enough, man, a half hour later, here come two bulls racing to our location. And they're not stopping, they're coming. My heart started to pound. I knew almost instantly these weren't bulls that we wanted to harvest, but what transpired next was unbelievable. Next thing I know, I am 5 feet away, eyeball to eyeball, looking at his eyelashes. Just a crazy cool encounter. This time of year, they're crazed. It's the rut. They only have one thing on their mind, and that's the ladies.
To 5 feet. That was outstanding. They came from a long ways.
To have them that close, you know, I don't want to dramatize it and say it was dangerous or scary, but you definitely have to be prepared and make good judgment in situations like that.
Coming up,
The spot just hit us. I mean, stopped us in our tracks. Lots of sign around, whether it was moose scat tracks, rubs and rakes. And we hear him grunting. He's coming in, and it's an incredible feeling.
Ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
Steve Ecklund and his guide from Next Ridge Outfitters, Chris Baldwin, are hunting moose in Newfoundland.
Everybody talks about, you know, the infamous Alaskan Yukon moose, but Newfoundland for me has got a special place in my heart. I think it's one of the most iconic places in North America to hunt moose. I mean, if you're a moose hunter, you have to experience this. This is moose hunter's paradise.
They've already had a close encounter with two juvenile bulls.
I am 5 feet away, eyeball to eyeball. Not a bull that we wanted to take, but just a crazy cool encounter.
As the second day of the hunt begins, Steve and Chris are back out looking for signs of the elusive ghost moose.
Newfoundland, for anyone that's been out there, knows for a fact that it's not a flat, desolate country. Very mountainous. I don't know if we could call it alpine, but sometimes feels that way.
It's a pull anywhere you go, any direction around here. It's a pull.
It's a tough hunt, you know, it's tough to get around, whether you're hunting the mountaintops or down in the lowlands in the wet, in the bog and the tuck that will drag you to your knees every time you hit it. This is ideal habitat for moose, but it makes it strenuous on the hunter. I mean, you gotta be in shape and you gotta be willing to go.
The survivability of these animals here in this terrain is amazing. When the winter comes on here and stuff, snow depths up here are more than 10, 15, 20 feet in some places. Ready?
Ready.
While it may be the perfect habitat for moose, the animal is not indigenous to Newfoundland.
The moose here were brought in almost 100 years ago. 4 moose were brought to Newfoundland and set loose just 20 kilometers from our exact location of this hunt. They've flourished. Anything that a moose requires to thrive and survive, it's here. There are over 125,000 moose that now inhabit this area. So we're in a place right now that's producing great quality moose, and we're excited to be here.
But with this large spike in moose numbers, other problems have been created, including unwelcome encounters with motor vehicles.
It's a 1,200-pound animal, so the collisions on the road are a big concern.
Accidents with moose result in millions of dollars of insurance claims, as well as personal injury and death. In other areas, there are problems with overgrazing, too many moose, and the decimation of important habitat.
In order to combat that, the parks actually started issuing special licenses for so many animals to be harvested out of the park to help those natural resources rebound themselves.
Steve and Chris continue scouring areas around the lease, looking for the big bull.
We're cruising along, going real slow, stalking through this timber. This spot just hit us. I mean, stopped us in our tracks. Lots of sign around, whether it was moose scat tracks, rubs and rakes. And it was just one of those spots where your spider senses started tingling, and it was like, let's set up and do a call session from here. 15 minutes later, we're raking on the trees. The electronic call is going off. The moose decoy's out. We hear him grunting. He's coming in, and it's an incredible feeling.
Anyway, we're right in his backyard here. Yeah, this is the bedroom. Good bull. Really good bull, just very tempting bull.
He come in crazed. I mean, he was looking for love. Another close encounter with a beautiful bull. We put him maybe at 40, 42 inches.
Man.
I thought in 10 seconds, I decided to take him, and then I decided to pass.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's mid-trip. Do we shoot? Do we not shoot? We got real close in the wide open, really.
So what do you at home think I should do?
At the end of it all, it was early in the hunt, and we decided to give him the golden pass.
Another really close encounter with a big bull moose here in Newfoundland. 2 super close encounters in that many days as well. I mean, it's just on fire right now. Bow hunter's paradise. I hope I don't come to regret that later on in the week, but there he goes. 22 yards. I stopped ranging him at 22. Welcome to hunting with Steve Ecklund, the guy that never shoots anything until it's absolutely what he's looking for. What an awesome experience. I mean, to get a bull that close. Very cool.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it.
Still to come.
Rain, wind, fog, starts coming in sideways. You can't hunt in this weather. You can't see more than 50 yards. So you're forced to stay back at the cabin.
Steve Ecklund's Newfoundland adventure is quickly turning into a game of peekaboo moose. Over the past few days, he's been eyeball to eyeball with 3 different moose, but decided each time not to shoot.
We've had multiple encounters with many different bulls, and I'm really starting to kick myself for passing up that great bull on day 2.
And Steve's luck may have just run out.
1 nice day, 2 nice days, whammo. Rain, wind, fog, starts coming in sideways. You can't hunt in this weather. You can't see more than 50 yards. So you're forced to stay back at the cabin. As depressing as that can be, I look at it like a little bit of a gift from Mother Nature, because this is a physical hunt. I mean, you're putting on a lot of miles, so it allows you time to kind of regroup. It's a nice little break, actually. After a great meal, here we are, and the guide says he has a big surprise for me, but out comes the High Mountain.
Steve is served the hot caramel apple crunch dessert from High Mountain Seasonings, which requires simple preparation. Just add boiling water into the package, let stand for 15 minutes, and serve.
Taste-wise, it was actually quite good, and we got a good laugh out of it. It was thumbs up all the way.
For the next couple of days, the area is pummeled with rain. But finally, the nor'easter lets up and conditions improve. Chris and Steve decide to resume the hunt.
With all this weather came, a tremendous amount of water, not only at camp and the streams there, but out in the field when we were trying to get across. And it just made things a lot harder. I mean, you had to dial in your stepping when you're crossing some of those larger creeks.
The recent storms have also left a trail of damage in their wake. Trees have come down, and deadfall litters the area, making travel through the woods difficult.
It's tough sledding when you're coming through there, and especially when you're coming through there trying to be quiet, when you're stalking and calling, and just bouncing along as you go through it. But you just get after it, and as long as you go slow and methodically through it, it poses some great opportunities as well. It gives the animals and the hunters advantages on both sides. It gives us a chance to sneak up on them, and it provides a lot of cover for you to hide behind it. Also gives the moose a great escape route. It's a chess match for sure.
And right on cue, another bull draws near. But this bull is a juvenile, and once again, a game of peekaboo begins.
When they commit to coming in, they commit wholeheartedly. They're not going to come in and spook off. When they break the barriers and the walls down, they're coming right in. Again, they got one thing on their mind, and that's what they're after.
Another really cool close encounter, but that was the chicken wing as far as moose go. Chicken wing. We'll hold out for a bigger guy. Oh, these are satellite bulls that we're seeing right now. Yeah. Kind of thinking they're kicked out of the main house.
Yeah, I think the big guy is keeping them at bay.
Well, let's sneak over there nice and quiet and see if we can make it happen.
Coming up.
Mid-afternoon, we run into 6 or 7 cows. Surely there's got to be a bull with them, and nothing. We're just turning up empty, and it's starting to play on the mental state.
Steve Ecklund is hunting in Newfoundland with Next Ridge Outfitters. After several days and several close encounters with younger moose, he has not been able to locate the herd bull.
We're coming into the last day of the hunt. The bull that we thought was in this area, the ghost bull, the big 50-incher, we haven't seen him all week.
A storm blew through the area and hunting was put on hold.
Mother Nature's throwing us a curveball. Gonna have to dig deep and just tough it out, I guess.
Weather breaks and out comes the sun, and my number one strategy, get out there and find the girls, because where the girls are gonna be, the boys are sure to follow. Just hoping we don't have tag soup on this deal.
They decide to head back into the area they hunted on day 2, and they find the girls.
Mid-afternoon, we run into 6 or 7 cows. Surely there's got to be a bull with them, and nothing. We're just turning up empty, and it's starting to play on the mental state.
I can't figure it out.
I was expecting to see.
We've had lots of encounters. You know what? If darkness falls on us and we still don't have a harvest, we've done everything we could do. It's late afternoon. We got about a 3-hour walk back to camp, maybe halfway back to camp, and we're getting into an area that's got a ton of sign, from moose scat to wallows, lots of rubs. Again, one of those places where the spider senses just start to tingle, and we come over this knoll, and sure enough, here's the ghost. I immediately got an arrow nocked and came to full draw. This bull turns and he's almost broadside, and he's staring at us. I had ranged him 65 yards. And when I touched that arrow off, I watched it sail through the air right on the button. Knock another arrow, and I planted another one right in the front of his chest for good measure.
I didn't expect that. I think we got him twice, eh? That was a really good bull. You know, I think we put a really good shot on him. 65 yards.
The moose surprised us, we surprised the moose, but we're still able to pull off a great shot. You know, success.
Hey, right there, right there. There he is. Man, we have battled so hard this week, and sure enough, on our way out, here's the moose we've been looking for all week. We just happened upon him, but you know, on the ground with archery tackle. Oh yeah, I'm tickled pink with that. What a great bull moose.
All the work that you've done and all the practice that you do, you know, pays off, and it's an example of you know how much effort has to go in to make a shot like that, you know.
Yeah, it's not so I can sit around the campfire and brag about my skills.
Yeah.
It's for this right here.
Yeah.
You know, we owe it to the animals to be proficient with their equipment, and here's this is just a perfect example of that. What a great bull moose. Thanks, Chris, very much.
Great job, man.
Right
Great
on.
job. Wow.
He's got some serious width.
Yeah. $48.5.
48.5. Round it up to 50. It's my story, and I'll tell it however I want.
The Edge is sponsored by Cabela's and also by Bog Pod, Browning, Buck Expert, Caldwell, Field Torque Knives, Prime Archery, High Mountain Seasonings, HowToHunt.com, Hornady, Polaris, 10-Point Crossbows, Wild Game Innovations Trail Cameras, and Vortex.